Buenos días. It is a great honor to be here. Thank you very much, Dominique, Pedro, for this lovely invitation. It is an honor to be at the National Conference and as part of Garden 2016 Spaces for Encounter campaign. What a wonderful name. Spaces for Encounter. I will develop it in human connection. I am a landscape architect who happened to born in a most beautiful region, the coffee region. So happiness is part of our identity, and encounter is human connection. By retrofilling the cities with happiness, we can tackle the urgent challenges of our age, and we can have a happy city, a green city, or low-carbon city. All are the same. This is the region where I was born, and it was called the Switzerland of Colombia. It is the coffee region. It is a region full of biodiversity, but also with a very rich soil and a very happy community. So the power to be a landscape architect depends very much on where you have born and how the land inherits your life and give you the power to make connections. Landscape architecture is a very, very powerful profession. We are few, but we do a lot of noise. We are few all over the world, comparing with architects, with engineers, with planners. Because landscape architecture has the tool to make places to be watched, to touch, to be around, to interact with others. I was asked by the organizers to make a speech, and I'm very sorry. My English is not good. My German is null. My Japanese is terrible because I married a Japanese boy. But the language of the landscape is good. Landscape initiative in my own backyard. I would like to stress how Latin Americans is a continent of new innovative ideas and solutions. How the landscape symbolizes a coming together of the natural world. How we overcome boundaries. How we work together. And how much responsibility as landscape architects we have. And I will develop in three major themes, I will say. The first one is that landscape make us make connections, human connections, globally, regionally, and locally. The second part will be happiness, a new urban mantra. That's the Medellin case study. How to use happiness in Medellin, Bogota, Cali, all those in a country where violence was terrible and where we are now having a new paradigm in the way we plan our cities. And the third part is places that foster encounters. It's what we are doing in our own small atelier, Grupo Verde, Ltda. Landscape connections goes to Europe. And I was studying in England. And I have the opportunity in 2003 to become IFLA president, International Federation of Landscape Architects. In 2005, I was invited in Cork for the European Landscape Convention. And after 2010, in IFLA, we started to say, let's have an international charter. Let's have regional international landscape charters. And then I finished that role as IFLA president. Then I moved back to Colombia, and we start by the inspiration of the European Landscape Convention, the Latin American Landscape Initiative. So I will go from global to regional and to local. The initiatives are not only the Latin American Landscape Initiative. I'm very happy to tell you that Europeans have inspired us. Now there is the African Landscape Charter, Asia Pacific Charter, the Canadian Landscape Initiative Charter we just signed 2 months ago, and the whole world is working where the landscape can become a tool for better places to live, to work. And now I will go quick to present you what is the Latin American Landscape Initiative and how this connects me with Medellin, and then from Medellin to Bogota, Cartagena, and my homeland. The Latin American Landscape Initiative is aim is to manage and the Latin American Landscape Initiative have some guiding principles to recognize landscape as vital, the consideration of living creatures, not only human, but the birds, but the cow, as we saw it in the previous conference, to deal with everyday landscape, not only the significant, but the daily landscape, to integrate biodiversity and ecosystem services, expand knowledge, and show leadership. And right now, we have all these Latin American landscape charters. Each country has signed the charter. It's a bottom-up, completely different from European, which is top-down, because we need first to mobilize the people and to work with this fantastic idea that Latin America is the crucible of intangible communities, that we have a very important heritage of traditional knowledge from the Indians, from the coffee regions, from tobacco regions, but also we have a reality. 78% of the people is living in towns. So how can we deal with this in this huge urbanized region where the most impact is the fragmentation of the landscape. Landscape is being fragmented physically, socially, and even in professions. So how to deal with this? How can we, within the landscape, start to work together and to become a continent of hope? And this is how the Latin American Landscape Initiative has born. It's a bottom-up approach where we were having our first signature of the declaration. In Medellin, here is Maguelón du Japon, who was one of our supporters, people from Spain, from the Catalonia Observatory, and 420 people, 23 countries from the region, all signed the initiative, which was a glorious moment that we, in 2012, the mayor of Medellin support this initiative. So we start to work together, academia, civil society, meetings in La Paz, Argentina, in Bolivia, Panama, and in Argentina, etc. And how we work? We work like clusters, like a cell, a knowledge society who surround the initiative. So we have clusters of communication, education, the law, catalog, civil society, good practices, and we are supported by the charters and by several organizations that once the movement of bottom-up is done, we can start to have the top-down initiative. So we already set up a web page. We have the collection of several initiatives of the civil society. It's like a network who, like a cell, grows and consolidate. It's horizontal, it's vertical, it's oblique, it's all together. And one of the most important parts that we are doing now is the collection of the best practice in Latin America. We are dealing with the landscape in urban context, rural, natural, cultural and social infrastructure, green infrastructure, and ephemeral landscape. So we are copying the whole spectrum, and of course we are supported by the International Federation of Landscape Architects. This is the regional aspect of the initiative. And now the second part of my presentation goes with happiness, a new urban mantra. There is no better way to redinkle the soul of a city than to make it a happier place to live, work, and play. You know, Colombia has been suffering during the last 50 years for this, not only drug problem, but the guerrilla problem. And we are porters of signing the peace treaty with guerrilla. So can you imagine this country with such a wonderful population, beautiful resources? If we are in peace, I will say that will become one of the best countries in Latin America. And Medellin has done an experiment of transforming a city from fear to hope, and nowadays to life. It was in the 1990s one of the highest homicide rate in the whole world. It was terrible, and this symbolized the bombing of Escobar, and then Botero, our sculptor, made a new one. And then it was Sergio Fajardo, who happens to be not a politician, but a mathematics. He became the mayor. And he said, we need to have a hope. We need certain stability. We need people close to the landscape, places who are resilient and sustainable. And then the process starts from chaos to citizen security. It was managed by all these access and the mechanism. And one of the most important legacy of this process was the social urbanism. The social urbanism, it is the urbanism who spend most for the poor, with quality, with art, culture, with safety and coexistence. Once you feel that you are taken care by police, by safety, you have a sense of belongs. And of course, planning. And planning was to connect people, to make places for encounter, just a little corner. And then the World Bank have encouraged Medellin with a huge amount of money to have this process. And they said public space is the most important tool to make a transformation of Medellin. And it was done. It was connectivity by the cable cars. It was connectivity by very simple, very nice way to adapt the topography land, to make terraces where people can be watched, can sing, can touch each other, where after they become all these beautiful colors, the sense of belongs of these people. And then the metamorphosis is done, and it's not only that parks, libraries, but it's the whole city. And the notion of social urbanism, where urbanism, architecture, landscape design have the ability to transform on a societal level, is the testament of this notion. And this is now new projects, a lot of imagination from these new architects and landscape architects, where just every corner, every opportunity to have places where the poor can be. Because the rich don't need to have this area. It's for the poor, where the majority of the population is. The 30% of the budget is spent on culture, is spent on education, on parks. And this is what we are calling the new urban landscape paradigm. And we are following in the rest of cities in Colombia. And now, my final part is projects which I would like to go from small to the large ones. This was Bogota. Can you imagine what a paradise before the Spanish came? It was a lake full of biodiversity. This is now. Yeah, 8 million. And we cannot go back to this, of course, but we can go to this. From the local, from the sacred relation with the community and the mountain. We have to teach politicians and administration the power of the landscape, because it's connectivity, exchange, permeability. And we always said to them, this is the new genus loci, the commons, where happiness can be done in a very simple, in just a pedestrian, just a bench. And we have been working, yes, since the last 25 years with my husband, who's a Japanese landscape architect. We have been working in Bogota with all these major activities when Peñalosa and Mocus, they start the transformation of Bogota. We design many places to connect the people, always thinking about the people. And we have a wonderful legacy in Bogota, and it's about the ciclovia. The ciclovia is what in New York and all these huge cities are talking about, to have the avenues, the roads for the people. Every Sunday, from 7 to 2 o'clock, 70 days per year, people goes to ciclovia. Today it's about 125 kilometers of people relax, people can go on bicycle. This has led to an initiative that Bogota is becoming one of the most important cities with a bicycle network. And we also have been working in parks, and this is a park that we worked last year, 2 years ago, sorry, and it is done by civil society. We work together with the community. The city didn't have the money, and it's about 2 hectares, and we work with the neighbors. This was a vacant land, very deteriorated, and we start to invite by internet and start to show them, oh, let's transform this. We didn't ask any money. We just did it as our social part. It was always people come and say, we want to join the initiative, and the park has been done. It's just a place where everyone has a place to be, where people like to touch each other, encounter, happy, dancing, concert, and sitting, but also culture. The opera, every year we have opera at the park, and people love to be at the opera. So what the important issue is that this park has generated a new sense of belongs. And when you see people taking a picture, you say, I have done well. It's not that it's beautiful, but it's what serves to the community. And this happened also in Cartagena, which is our World Heritage City. Cartagena is a wonderful place. But Cartagena has been impacted by the climate change. Climate change is all these the sea was coming to all these hedges. So Colombian government say, we need to start a change in Cartagena. So 40 hectares of land were reclaimed to the sea, and also to accommodate a connection tunnel to link the north and the south. So we came, it's now under construction. In 3 months it will be ready, all the project. So we came to the public organization, and we say, why we don't do a wonderful park? Why we don't use the opportunity to have in the tunnel a new place, a new park where green areas, where people can see it, where people can have encounter. So this was when we start the consulting, and this is now the proposal, and the proposal has been gone in the whole 40 hectares, and we are now producing detailed design, and we are so happy to have this opportunity. And the last project, I just want to mention, we are now, as I said, at portas to have peace. So we need to have places where those men and girls and boys need to socialize. The land in Bogota is very expensive, and land has become scarce. But also, the latest policies in Bogota have sent factories along this corridor. So the city is becoming in an urban continuum. And all these areas are developing in new projects, like a continuum. So we propose to a private company who is doing social housing, which is one of the most important investments in the Colombian government, because they need to have 400,000 houses. 400 new people who are coming to the cities. So we talk to them and we say, give us the opportunity to have an experiment. Give us a place where we can plan, we can design, and we can detail like a city, human city for the people. And we were approved, so we were asked to do the partial plan, the urbanism, landscape urbanism, detailed design, and now everything is under construction. And it's amazing how fast this project, this is for the poor, and how it's been selling. People are having help by the national government, but the project is based on three major aspects. One is the connectivity. Connectivity, the street as the place to connect people. Everybody can be in the street, even the cars, but we have signed a connection network. The other one was, we said to the engineers, let's change the engineering to green engineering. And the third one was landscape as a network. So we have been developing the project. Every window has a view with a tree, a view with a pedestrian. Each manzana, as we call it, has a park. And each park has different activities. A small is beautiful, so we promote different place for the community. And we are using the concept of Bonner, which is not Bonner, because this is where, in my hometown, we used to live like this, the street to live all together. So this is what is nowadays. But let me just finish with open the window. Cultural landscape sensitivity development that acknowledges diversity and promotes the ability of individuals to participate freely in cultural life and access cultural and natural assets can contribute considerably to the building of a culture of living together. Here, in what you have seen, the landscape design is more than greenery that heals decades of violence and fear in Colombia. It is a strategically designed tool, a catalyst that opens civil society both physically and metaphorically. So making people happier and identified with their land, with the animals, is what we as a landscape architect, we should do. People in the center. Vielen Dank.